Hey everyone, and welcome to Live from the Lab. This is the show where we talk about different technology that Bruker has developed in order to help scientists understand the world around us. Today's technology is going to be XRM. XRM, or X-ray microscopy, is a combination of micro-CT scanning with specialized software. And that software is really key to getting out the results and the meaning from those digital twins that we create. Just to give you a quick summary, and if you're interested, we do have other Live from the Lab episodes on this that go into more depth on the technique. But in an XRM experiment, what we do is we basically take a sample, stick it into the instrument. It collects several images at different rotation angles while projecting the X-rays through the sample. And then out of that, we can reconstruct a true digital twin. What we mean by that is it contains information not only about the external shape, but also the internal structures of a sample. And the contrast that we see is dependent on the absorption of the X-rays by the material itself. What's really neat is that this allows us that deeper insight into the sample while preserving it in its original state. So today's topic specifically, though, is going to be about that analysis software that comes post-reconstruction. Bruker, of course, does offer some world-class software in this area, but some people prefer other workflows. And one of those workflows can be found in Dragonfly. So today's topic, what we're going to do is we're going to kind of go through a get you started type approach to this. We're going to see that software in action and then answer any questions that you happen to have about it. So with that, let's head on over to the table and let's get started. Good morning, Billy.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I am doing wonderful.
Awesome.
So welcome back to Live from the Lab.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to be here.
So we have talked quite a bit about the Poseidon,
Yeah.
which is a new benchtop instrument.
Yep.
And I think that's one of the cool things about this technique is it's really available to a lot of different people out there.
Yeah.
Right? So with benchtops, you can get into it fairly low cost and also like a small footprint in your lab.
Right. Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
It's not like a big CT scanner at a hospital.
Plugs into the wall. Good to go.
Yeah, 120 in fact.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Just plug it in, you're good to go. So in terms of that workflow, what I just mentioned was we're going to collect the data on one of these scanners. Now reconstruction, that's going to be still in our software, right?
Right. Correct.
And generally what you find is that that's because the reconstruction software is going to have special ways to decode the information.
Right. Yeah. So one of the things with the reconstruction software, you can correct some kind of any scanning artifacts that you see, and then you can output in whatever data file that you want, and then from there, then you would import into whatever your analysis software is.
Yeah, and you may even have special scans like heart scans, so high aspect ratio,
Right.
helical,
Right.
oversized.
Yeah.
So, and all of this kind of depends on what instrument you have, and that's why it's important that you use that reconstruction software.
Right. Correct.
So now in the Bruker software, once you've got that data reconstructed, which results in basically a series of new images, which are slices of the sample, what do we do with it in the Bruker software?
So once we have the reconstructed image, then you can bring it into our data viewer, which is the 2D viewing. You can go into 3D viewing, which is CT Vox, or you can just go, I mean, if you want, some people just go straight to CTN and get the analysis done. So it just kind of depends on what your workflow is and what you're looking to get out of it, what you're looking to see or analyze.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you have a few different options after in recon once that's done.
It was kind of interesting when you just were talking about the software and you mentioned CT Vox. It's important to remember that the data may look like a series of files, and it's huge. What is it, like 50 gigabytes?
I mean,
sometimes.
Yeah. I've done scans that are like 5 gigabytes. I've done scans that are 300 gigabytes.
Yeah. So you get you get the original data, which is the projection images.
Yeah.
Now we get the reconstructed data set, which is basically slices.
Yeah.
But in the end, it's really voxels.
Right.
It's the pixels. It's just a 3D cloud of pixels.
Right.
Right. And in our mind, we can use like our processor in order to kind of go, oh, those things go together and these things go together. But computers don't necessarily know that.
Right.
Right? And so to do that step now of actually getting information out, we need to use this analysis software packages, right?
Right. Yeah.
All right. So Dragonfly now, that would come if you wanted to use their workflow after reconstruction.
Correct.
All right. So with that, maybe we just jump right into the software.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Huh? So what would we do now? So we've just did our reconstruction. So we've got a bunch of files. What do we do with it?
And now we're in Dragonfly. So you can see these 4 windows here. There is a lot going on down the side. These are just all different options that allow you to manipulate whatever's on the screen, whatever your data set is. So first we need to load our data set. So we can go File, Import Image Files, Add, and then so for our software, if you export from in Recon, you can do bitmap, you can do TIFF files. It's whatever you prefer.
Which one do you normally use?
So it depends on what you're looking for. These are TIFF files. These are 16-bit images. So the 16-bit allows us to retain more data on the histogram. So if you want to do segmentation, then I would probably go with 16-bit. 8-bit is perfectly fine. It just depends on what I'm looking at. I'll do both. It doesn't really matter, honestly.
It also depends like how sharp the features in your histogram are.
Yeah. So if you really want better delineation between your phases, maybe go with 16-bit. That's probably the better way to go.
Yeah, and one tip I would throw out there is when you're doing the reconstruction, right before you export it, make sure you look at that histogram again, because it's going to have a range. And you want to make that range just over the relevant part of the histogram. Right? Now when you export it, you're going to use that whole bit depth.
Right.
Otherwise, if you just have all of your relevant information crushed down at the low end, if it's a very low density sample, everything is going to be binned in just a few bins rather than spread out over the range.
Yeah.
So really take advantage of that file format. So okay, so now we've loaded that in, and I noticed now you have a few settings here. Image sampling. What does that mean?
So image sampling allows us to, over here we can see this would be 21 gigabytes if I loaded it in like this. So I would rather not.
And then it would have a resolution of 5 micron by 5 micron by 5 micron voxels.
So, and when you do scans, you can choose your binning mode.
Yes.
So this is no binning. So, but if we go a binning by 3, so if we do 3 by 3 by 3 binning, so now our resolution is going to be 15 microns. But our size is much more manageable. So this is an option. Obviously, you don't have to do that if you don't want, but this is an option you can downsample right from loading your
Why
images.
would I care? Why wouldn't I always just use the maximum resolution? Why wouldn't I use the best resolution?
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, sometimes your data sets can be really big, and if your data sets are too large for your system to handle, you might need to either load a subset or you can downsize your data set.
Okay. So if it seems really laggy, if the software is like, on you when you click.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you might want to bin it down a little.
Yeah, if you see it struggling, just either load a subset or you can bin it down.
So speaking of the computer, is this software already on people's systems, or do they have to download it? How does that work?
So this is a third-party software. So if you're buying a new system, we now offer this as an option.
Okay.
So you do have the option to purchase this through us. Some people already have it. Some people have just sought out different, like you were saying at the start of this. There's a bunch of different data analysis softwares out there. This just happens to be one of them. So some people they already have this through searching out other softwares on their own.
Okay.
So,
and you do need a license for it.
You do need a license for it. Yeah, correct. So now that we have this data loaded, so here we can see these 3 windows. You can see the 2D views, and then in this top left window, we can see our 3D view.
Now, how are you making it rotate?
So in the 3D window, also if you double click on any window, it goes full screen. So if I just do a standard left click and drag, now I can rotate our sample. If I click with both the left and the right, now I can move it around.
Okay.
So
how do you zoom in?
Zoom in. Sorry. It's I just do it. You have to I don't ever have to talk about it really. If you click the scroll wheel and drag towards you or push away from you, you zoom in.
It's really funny because we have this mouse and it doesn't make much noise. So now we started getting in the habit sometimes that when we're clicking on things, we just have to make the noise. Click.
Yeah, you say click.
Click, so that we know that we're clicking it.
Yeah.
So this is a cinnamon stick, you were saying, huh?
Yes, yeah, so this is a
And
cinnamon stick.
So neat thing, people might not know, cinnamon stick is actually bark.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
It's bark from a tree,
Yep.
kind of like cork. So they peel it off the tree, and then it dry it, and then it wraps up in the shape. So we got some kind of cool structures in there.
Yeah, and I'm gonna mess with, so over here on the left-hand side, well, first off, really quick, on the top right-hand side here, this is our volume. So this is what is loaded in. If you want, you can rename it.
So this is all of those files that we loaded.
Right.
It looked like, on the computer, it was 1,000 files or something.
Right.
When it loads it, it puts it all in one place because
Right.
this is all the voxels of the 3D, and we see some specs on it, there.
Yeah, it even tells you down here some of the specs, the
Yep.
size of it, and then the size of the data set itself.
Mhm.
So being able to visualize it, you can turn it on and off with the eye. You can turn the 3D view on and off with the 3D button over here. So any of your volumes that you create or any of the ROIs, it's all going to be over here. This is kind of like the data management portion.
Now on the left, I noticed you were clicking on that histogram, and you're able to change kind of the way it looks or the color.
Right.
Huh?
Yeah. So this is like your standard histogram that you'd mess with in any visualization software.
So people who are brand new to the technique, when we say histogram, because we've said that a lot,
right.
what is that actually showing? Like, what's that graph mean?
This is all of your data. So in this, all of your low density data is going to be over here. Whoops. All of your low density data is going to be over here on the right, on the left side here,
yeah.
and then on the right side is your higher density data. So as you adjust, you're making things, whatever's in between these lines is what you're visualizing.
Okay.
So if you back out your lower density and only keep your higher density, that's what we're seeing now. And you adjust. Basically, you want to adjust it so the contrast looks right.
So it's doing two things. One is it's adjusting the opacity, and the other thing is it's adjusting the color that's being applied.
Right.
So now you can actually change the color, right?
Yeah.
So we could, like, a real cinnamon stick is not gray.
Yeah.
One thing to note, right, about XRM, you don't see color. To be very clear to people out there, if you ever see pictures like the one that we had on the TV here,
yeah,
we have to add the color back. We see density, or actually it's absorption, right?
right. Yeah. So we're seeing the absorption of
absorption.
the different density materials.
And that generally goes with density.
Yeah. So yeah, we can change the color. I'm going to add a little bit of lighting, so you can see you can control your light here, and you can add your shadows. So let's just do a little bit of that before we do this. Okay. So now down here, we're in our 3D view.
Mm-hmm.
We did create a cinnamon stick.
So sometimes these are called like LUTs, right?
Right, yeah, so it's a LUT or a lookup table.
Lookup table. And that kind of, now you can see the histogram, it has different colors in it. It's not just black and white, it has all the colors.
Yep, and we're in the window leveling pane here.
Okay.
Let's fix this. So I added kind of that Gaussian transfer function there. And then let's fix that. And then you can also adjust the colors as well, which is nice. So we did create this cinnamon stick one, but we have found that adjusting it a little bit allows us to see those rays a little better.
So now on the histogram, Billy had mentioned there's kind of this line now. It's almost like an S shape, kind of a flatter S. And that's the transfer function. So what that means is it's going to change that opacity. It's going to change the transparency of the pixels. Right?
So now on the left side, with that curve, the left side is a little lower, and then the right side goes up a little more. So it's going to retain the higher density a little better than it's going to retain the lower density.
Yeah. So if you had that, like if you had a lot of air scatter or something, and you didn't have something like this, well, the air scatter would be blocking everything.
Right. So it just kind of helps. And there's all these different functions down here that you can mess with and see. Basically, it's one of those like, see what works best for you.
Right.
Every data set's different. You might use a different function every time.
Yeah. Yeah, and so what we're trying to do here is to clearly, like you said, clearly differentiate the features that we want to look a little bit deeper into.
Right.
We want to communicate about.
Yep, exactly. So here's our cinnamon stick, and we have some nice color to it now. So like we were saying, you can adjust the color. You can adjust these lookup tables if you want as well.
So it's really kind of neat, though, like at this point now, like on the inside, you can actually see like it looks like bark.
Right, exactly.
On the inside.
Yeah,
right?
you can actually see it's like tree structure, right? So it's pretty cool.
Now, can we do, I know in some softwares you can like do cuts. That's very important, right? Because otherwise this is just like one of those laser scans that you just scan the outside of the object.
Right.
But here, what's unique is that we actually have all the info about the inside. So how do we do that? Okay,
Yeah.
so you could do it this way. One
Yeah.
way is right. You just
So here up at the top, you have these different shapes that you can add in. We'll just add a box. Boxes are nice and easy. So you can see this box. It's over here, and we can adjust the box in any of these planes. And so as I adjust it here, you can see it adjust down in this viewing plane. You can also see it adjust in 3D. And then what we can do is we can command this box to do something. So you can also take these. So in 3D, you can see these nodes here, and you can see them in 2D as well. So what you can do with that allows you to rotate that box.
Okay.
So let's take the box and we'll just move. Let's move it to a funky shape. And you can do this in 3D as well. You can move these planes.
So if you wanted to just get a slice, then you can use the 3 views. You can use the X view, the Y, X, Y, Y, Z, X, Z views here.
Right.
But if you want to make a more complex cut, now we can add this box.
Yeah.
So how do we cut now?
So
we got a box.
Now let's command this box. So we're going to command. We're going to tell it to act on the cinnamon stick here. We're going to tell it to clip. So now it is done. Now this is going to be very similar to like in our CT Vox software.
Okay.
You can be very familiar with something like this. So now we have cut our cinnamon stick. And if you want, you can leave the box open. Here, let's zoom in a little bit. And now we can slice through. So, and again, like I was saying, you can also do this in 3D as well.
Okay. So what's I'm seeing too is in the upper right where we had that box where the volume is shown, or this display up here, is that now the box, this extra entity that you added, we added something there. So that's kind of where objects or things end up being. And the way you turn those things on and off is with the eye.
Right.
Right? Okay.
Yeah. So we're gonna turn it on and off and be able to. You can also have it viewed in 2D and not in 3D if you want.
And one thing that might be a little confusing to people is like when you were clicking the eye on the box, we saw the box go away, but the clipping was still present.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So like if you want to take a screenshot or something, so like let's say we have this where we like it now, right? And we wanted to get this screenshot. We can now make the box go away, and this is a nice picture without that clipping shape in there.
But if you did want to turn off the clipping, you'd actually have to click on the box, and then you'd have to go down and disable that.
Yeah, you can disable that, or you can just tell it to not command on the box. Yeah.
So now, before we move on, I think you got another example. What I'd love to see, to show everybody out there, is we had that really cool picture back here on the TV.
Yeah.
Could you actually load in?
Yeah, so that was
those
a sample.
things so we can see that?
So what we did is, one thing I thought would be interesting is these brighter features, they're called rays.
Okay.
So, and we looked this up. We had to figure this out.
Phloem rays.
Phloem rays, right.
Phloem with a P.
Right, yeah. So, yeah. Geologist, not a biologist.
That's
so,
right, yeah.
So
that's
we had to learn.
journey. That's the journey of discovery you have with a tool like this. As you look at it and you go, "What's that? I haven't seen that before."
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Right? So it's really interesting. These rays. They so you have your tree rings, your growth rings.
Yes.
And then the rays cut across the growth rings, and they help bring nutrients to the entire tree. So I thought it would be interesting to quantify these rays, to extract these rays and visualize just the rays. And so that's what we did. We did that, but then we thought, okay, you know what? It would actually be really cool to apply a thickness mesh to them. So that's what we did.
Now, what's very interesting to me is like what you just said. It sounded very simple, but in reality, it's amazing the depth that like a software has to go to, because up to now, when we were moving the cinnamon stick around, you were cutting it with the box, we're only looking at independent voxels at that point.
Right.
This is just 3D data points that are colored based on their absorption value. But now what the software had to do, you said segment.
Right.
And so segmenting means it connects voxels, right?
Yeah, so once you get to segmenting, now you're thresholding the data set. And what I mean by that is you're deciding what part of the histogram is going to be quantified. So I always say it's like a light. It's either on or it's off. You're saying this is included in my data or it's not included in my data. So that's what we did with this.
So in this case, they look a little brighter in the picture, so we knew they were a little bit higher density.
Right.
So you're able to segment them out. And we'll look at some of the segmenting tools in a second. And then that's what separated these. And now
Right.
that they were separated, you did an analytic on it.
Yep.
And so what is the analytic that we're seeing here? What's the color mean?
So this is a thickness mesh. And it's
What does that mean? Thickness mesh.
So basically, if you look at the rays, you can see they're thinner down here towards the inside, and then they get thicker towards the outside. So now if we look at the thickness mesh, it's a little subtle. We have this big,
we got the big
I'm not sure what
old
that big grain is.
there.
Yeah, but we have that big grain there. It's kind of throwing off the whole scale. But what we do see is, come here, it's thinner here, so we have like more of this darker purple.
Yes.
You can see the scale down here.
Yeah, overall, I can see it's darker in the middle.
Darker, and then it gets a little brighter. It gets a little more towards this like bluish color. So you can actually see the thickness of the ray as it changes, as it gets thinner, thicker. So like if in let's say you have a material that let's say you have some kind of like wire that you're measuring, and you want to see the thickness, you want to see how constant or how consistent you are in your manufacturing process, whatever it is. Or you have some kind of like, there was that 3D printed microfluidics chip that we did in another Live from the Lab. If you're doing a 3D printed internal channel and you want to make sure that you're being very consistent or that the printer is being very consistent, thickness mesh is a really good way to see any variation in whatever your manufacturing is or whatever your sample is.
And so these little rays, the other thing we can see is that they're actually like just independent little fluidic channels. They're not like sheets or anything like that. You can start to get that sense for what they are.
Yeah.
I suppose that's why this is really good for sticking in a drink.
Yeah, exactly.
It can suck them up.
Well, yeah, I mean, also, if I double click again, I mean, you can see all the porosity as well. So let me double click on the slide view.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, look at all the pore space in here. So yeah, it would.
And it's kind of neat. You can see is that these channels, these rays, are somewhat independent. They do go around those, but it's not like it's a path through the pores.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So
they're their own thing.
So you can see here that that's when you start that discovery, and what the software is doing now is it's helping us support that with both the qualitative imagery, but then also the quantitative.
Right.
Now, to talk a little more quantitative, though, I think we need a little bit simpler example.
Yeah. So
at least in this short period of time.
Yeah. So one of the nice things is down here in the bottom right, we have this new session button, so we can just click this new session button. I don't need to save any of this. We're good. I can clear without saving.
But you did save it, and you can save it.
Yeah, you can. So what I do have saved is I have a different example. So if you do have a volume saved, so we have this concrete volume saved.
Okay.
So it's saved as a .ors object.
And it was a really big file I saw. So it actually has all the data in it.
Right, yeah, exactly. Okay. So now, really quickly, easily like that, now we have this volume open. So it's nice. It's nice and easy like that. I'm going to adjust the shadows, do my standard thing. Also, over here, when you're selected on the volume and you're in the 3D window, you can also adjust down here. Let me do this so you can see the data. Okay, so here's our concrete sample. So you can adjust the solidity of it. Diffuse. You have all these different controls that help the sample look more how you would like it to look, perhaps.
Yeah.
So now we have our sample. Let's say that's how we like it. So now we have our sample ready. So this is our concrete sample, and this is what we're going to work on. So we were talking about segmentation, right?
Yes. So one thing that somebody I know, I'm no concrete expert, but I know that they care about porosity.
Yeah. So
and I see porosity.
There's a lot of pore. Yeah, there's a lot of pores in this one. One of the nice things in like a lot of different softwares, there's multiple ways to do something.
Okay.
So we'll walk through one of the really quick, nice, easy ways that we can do porosity analysis in here. So if you right-click on the volume.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's a lot of options. You know,
there's a lot of
yeah, exactly.
Lot of things.
One of the things that we'll see is we have automated porosity segmentation. Yes. And so we can go single material, let's just do this one, single material basic Otsu. And so really quickly, we can see what it did. We can see that now, is it perfect? Maybe, maybe not. That's kind of up for the user to decide.
Well, okay, the thing that hits me right away is I see it looks like it added 3 different groups. I see there's an outside group, it's very dark blue. I see the pores, a little bit lighter blue, but then it colored everything else yellowy orange, when obviously there's parts of that are different.
Right. Yeah.
But that's kind of by design here, right? Because a tool is a porosity tool. It's not designed The aggregate or the...
Yeah, so it did a basic OTSU, and so like all this was doing is it's
a basic what?
OTSU.
What's that?
It's an algorithm for doing thresholding or for doing like dividing out different classes.
Okay.
So you can do like this one. It just does. It's going to do the exterior, but then for the sample itself, it's just going to do two. It's going to do material, and then it'll do pores.
Okay.
So it's that's why it's called a basic OTSU.
Ah.
But yeah, there's different levels that you can add to this. But yeah, if I click on it.
Okay, so it added this little group now.
Yeah.
And it looks like the group has an icon of like 3 distinct stripes.
Right. And then also if you look down, if you scroll down, we can see that it has the 3 different volumes that it added. So you can turn them on and off.
Ah, okay.
If you right click on one, we don't need the exterior. We can just delete that class. Okay?
And then it has a count column. What does the count mean?
That's how many voxels that it identified.
Okay.
Just the voxels. Also, one thing you can do that I like to do, right click, extract class as an ROI. I'm going to do that for both of these. And like I showed you earlier, we can change.
Pores!
We can change it so we can say that, we can just leave it as matrix. So it's just a little easier than that long description that it has there.
So now what these are just identified areas of space that belong to the class called matrix or a class called pores.
Yeah.
So it's not the actual voxel data, it's just that area of space.
Right, yeah. So this is just like it'll even tell you this is the labeled number of voxels. This is the volume of that labeled number of voxels. But it's just labeled voxels. It's not, there's nothing, like you haven't identified or quantified anything yet.
Right.
It's just identified. So one thing I really like though that I want to show you. So we have our matrix here.
Yes.
So one thing that's really important is you want to know what the percentage of your porosity is. And so there's a really nice, easy way to do that in this. So if we click on the matrix, up here we have the main tab, and then we have the segment tab. So we come over to here, and then under ROI tools, so we're commanding on the matrix ROI, and we want to fill inner areas in 3D. So basically, it's gonna look through anything in 3D that isn't closed up. It's gonna close it.
Now the matrix is all pixels or all voxels that are in the whole sample.
Right.
The whole sample. And what's different about that is that before it didn't have the pixels of the pores.
Right.
This is the pores and the matrix now.
Right. So this is our total. It's our VOI, our total volume of interest.
The whole volume.
So it's the whole volume. So and I will say it didn't. I would like to point out it did not completely close everything because these are at the end. So there are other operations that close that up. We're just because it will be visible. So we're not going to close it up right now.
This is simple back to the envelope.
Right. So
one could almost say this is the closed porosity.
There you go. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So now we have matrix, but now we have it closed up, right? So this is actually now our mask.
Okay.
And then, or you could say total VOI.
Sure.
So this is our mask, and now down here, if we compare it with our pores and click refresh, really, really quickly we can get the porosity is 1.62% of this total sample.
Okay.
So it's a nice, really quick, easy way. If you just need a quick number, boom, that's it.
Now,
we're good.
Something like what we've done here, just so that we can kind of get an idea of functions. All of the stuff we did with the cinnamon stick in terms of visualization, rotation, cutting it, that stuff, you could do that in CTVox.
Yeah.
Right? So all those functions are there. What we just did with determining the pores and doing the masking and things like that, would that also be in CTVox?
No, that'd be in CTAN.
Okay, CTAN.
So, so once you did the quantification in CTAN, you would visualize it in CTVox.
Yeah, and that functionality, that's all there.
Yeah.
It's just a different workflow.
Right. Yep.
And so you kind of have to figure out what workflow works best for you, your lab, and your area of research. Or work.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, now that we do have the pores.
Yeah. Now, are the pores only in 2D images? I see the blue thing. Oh, there they are.
Yeah. So we can now visualize our pores as well. But let's see what the pores look like. So now you can actually see where they lay in space.
Are we missing some?
No. So if we look, it does look like there's a big gap here.
Can you make that bigger?
Big gap here. Yep. Let's do that. Let's double click.
There's only so many pixels in YouTube land.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. So if we turn our volume back on, we can actually see that our
Okay, there was that big
these big
class. Was it
classed.
classed?
These big.
So this big classed, and then if we turn it off and on, toggle it so everybody can see.
Well, one thing we can do actually, we can decrease the opacity.
Ooh, that's
There you
very
go.
interesting.
Now we have.
So it appears the
Classed.
the class
Yeah.
does not contain porosity.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So the porosity is pretty well contained in this lower density matrix material, whatever the concrete portion is. Okay. So
now, that's great, but I still that's like very qualitative.
Yeah.
I want a more quantitative measure here. So we got the 1.6%. How do I do this pore size?
yeah. Okay. So now we have our pores.
Mhm.
Let's just delete this out. Force a habit. Okay. So now we have our pore size. What we need to do now, we need to create. We need to figure out. We need to do our computations, right? So we're going to do our connected components in 3D. We can create a multi-ROI. So basically what it's going to do, actually, I won't tell you, I'll show you. Now, it has now gone through and it has taken all the different volumes. So it chose this color if you wanted to do, like, let's go down to temperature. It is now determining, I don't like that though. But yeah,
Is it that
basically.
is in the color we're looking now, the smallest stuff? Like right now it's random.
Right now it's random.
But in the other one that you just had, was it that the smaller ones were all the one color, and then as the size got larger, it changed to a different color?
Not
or no?
necessarily, because we're still only on. It's just these are identified volumes. There's nothing. We haven't done any computations yet.
So it's like almost like secondary segmentation. So the first segmentation was saying these voxels are pores,
Right.
but they're not necessarily connected to each other.
Right.
And now what it did is it said these voxels of this pore are one pore.
Right.
So all it's done at this point now is just said identified or segmented. This is one pore.
It knows what's
This
a
is
separate.
one pore.
Yeah.
This
It knows
is
that all
one
these are
pore.
separate volumes. Yeah.
All right.
Exactly.
Now how do I do that next step where I can determine the size?
Now we have our multi-ROI. We can have it do a computation. So measurements and scalar values, compute measurements, and we have all these. And this is why, like, it doesn't do anything automatically, because there's so much stuff that you can do. I mean, there's
You
so
have
many
to kind of
different
know
things.
what question to ask, right?
Right. So let's just do volume.
Yep.
We'll just do pore volume, right? So it's done it.
Oh, that was pretty quick.
Yeah. And down here it shows you what all we're looking at. So it shows you all the different classes. You can change this to volume, and now we're looking at the different volumes. So it changes the color.
So now that we're looking at that, that is by color.
Now it's by color. I will change it back to temperature now. So now what we're seeing is, let me go full screen here.
So blue are little.
Blue is going to be smaller, and then
green,
red is going to be,
and then yellow, and then orange, then red.
Yep.
Neat.
So now it is actually applying
So on the bottom value now, I can get kind of a microns on Q value, but I want more number. What is the pore size distribution? What's the plot? How can I make the plot?
So connected components, let's see.
We do this.
Oh, thank you. Let's do a log. So here's our volume, and let's do 128. So just showing you can do a bunch of different things here. So now this is our pore volume distribution here.
So each column represents
It's a different
the
it's a
size
different
of
bin.
the pore,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So it'd be like, okay, this is the bin for, well, that's like crazy, 50 billion or 50 million cubic meters.
Yeah.
Micrometers, right? And so this bin represents all pores that are in that size range.
Right. And so on the left side, we're looking at a frequency range, a frequency percentage.
Okay.
So this is I know it looks a little confusing, but I know a lot of people expect like a bell curve, right?
Yes.
But basically what this is telling us is we have way more small pores than we have big pores.
Okay.
So that's basically the what this graph is telling us.
So that's how you can get a number, though. This is how you can get that quantification out. You can do that through here.
Mm-hmm.
So qualitative things you can do, quantitative things you can do.
Yep.
And like I said, it's kind of that. It is another way of doing these things. So you can do these things all in the other. Now, I know there's a buzzword floating out there.
Mm-hmm.
and we don't have much time to talk about this. This is a huge thing. I know we could talk a whole other episode about this.
Yeah.
AI.
Yeah. So
I've heard that this can do some AI stuff, and here what we did segmentation, I can see like where you could, like I could use my brain to kind of say, that's a spot, that's a spot, that's a spot.
Yeah.
So this can somehow use AI.
Yeah. So so when you do segmentation, sometimes over here on the segment tab, if you're going to do segmentation, and anyone that's used any kind of software with segmentation, they know the struggles where if I just want to, maybe you just want to get the class, you just want to get these larger class. Well, here, let me go this full screen.
Yeah, I see that. There's like a lot of little dots.
It can be very difficult. So maybe it's like you want to get just the larger class, but we're getting some of the matrix material here.
And even in the class, I can see all kinds of pinholes.
Right, yeah, exactly. So
like my mind knows what to connect.
It's difficult. So this is, like in our software, you would do this, and then you would do a despeckle and closing Yeah. So I mean, and that's the same thing you would have to do here. So you would do this as your ROI, and then you would have to go through all these different operations to clean this up. But what this software has is a deep learning segmentation.
Okay.
So basically, you can teach it. You say this is the class, this is the matrix, this is the higher density, whatever it is, and then you can train it. Basically,
and like I said, I think if people want to see this, just write in the comments that you'd like to see an episode about this, or send us an email, and we'll go more into depth. But I think the idea that you're saying, Billy, right, is that you take out several chunks, or you take out several slices, and then you yourself, you identify those. You paint it using their tools.
Yeah, you give it the ground truth.
So you say, this is one phase, this is another phase, these are pores. So it'll do multiples. Then you train it, you tell the AI, go ahead, and it'll do things like distort it, shift it, flip it, do all that, and then it'll learn what you're teaching it.
Exactly.
And then the output is that you actually can have a model to do it. And I know we played a little bit with this yesterday.
Yeah.
Going to throw this out there. It's not perfect.
Yeah, not
perfect. But it gives you
perfect.
an idea what you can do.
So over here in the segment tab, segment with AI, we have our concrete model. And then you just say segment the full data set. So I have our concrete volume selected here. We're going to segment the full data set using this concrete model that we trained very, very briefly yesterday.
No, I mean, really, we spent maybe about 5 minutes just as we were kind of practicing for today.
But you can see it's actually pretty quick.
And so what it's doing now is it's going back and it's saying, I learned from you this, from what you taught me. Now apply that to this sample.
Exactly.
And when you're doing that, you also have to think about finding slices that have unique opportunities. And the more unique situations you present to it, then the smarter it gets. It's like these self-driving cars.
Yeah.
Where they just have to keep presenting it more and more data.
And I like to tell people, there we go. I like to tell people, just make sure any of your slices that you're training your model on, you want to make sure that it has all of your phases in there, whatever all of your phases is. So here we go. This is it. This is what we see. So let's open it in 3D.
And how this is different, just to reinforce that, is that the pore one, right? You could easily segment the pores just based on the histogram type separation.
Right.
But here it's taking into context how the image looks. It's taking into context that this pixel or this voxel next to this voxel. Yeah. All of those things.
Yeah.
And that's why I can get out these little bits, like those little tiny green chunks.
There's just it's just the class.
And those green ones, those are the really high density stuff. Yep. The reds are the class. We had the pores in there too. Yeah, and we had the matrix.
So the pore, and so now we have, this is just the matrix. So this is where all of our pores sat, right?
Yeah.
Was in all this pink. And then, if I did the voids right now, it has all this external.
Yeah, we have to cut that.
Yeah, what you would do is you could open a cylinder really easily, and you'd resize it, and then you can cut that out. Or you can use that mask that we had, and then you would just say remove anything outside of the mask.
Yeah. So really cool software. We could talk for a very long time about it. And like I said, this is just this alternative way that you can look at your data, and some people prefer it. So, and there's other ones too out there. If you go on the internet, you search for XRM software, analysis software, you'll find a lot of them.
Right.
So the important point is that you always got to have good data, because garbage in, garbage out.
That's right.
So make sure you have a high quality system.
Exactly. It starts with sample prep.
Speaking of that, how do we collect that cinnamon stick?
Oh, that was on my favorite, the flat panel.
Okay,
on the Poseidon.
The Poseidon, okay,
That's right.
the X4.
Yeah.
Okay.
So love the flat panel.
How long was that?
That was actually a 20-minute scan.
Really?
Yeah, 5 microns,
20
20-minute
minutes.
scan. And we did a test scan in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So, which was really nice.
Yeah, because really, I think I know what my experience has been is if you get to this phase and then you find out you just haven't collected good data, it's noisy, things like that. Yeah. It's a mess.
There's filtering in here and stuff like that too. It's just,
You can try to make it better. It's never going to overcome.
It's way easier to have good data to start with.
Yeah. So we do have some questions that came in before. If you, in the future, ever see an episode you're interested in, you want to send in questions, you can send them into this email, live.events@bruker.com. Otherwise, if you're watching this later, you have a question, send it in, and Billy or I can get back to you. But you can go ahead right now if you're watching. Type in your questions, and we will answer them live. We do have some that came in before. First one, Carol, can the computer that came with my system run this software? Yeah, you're doing a lot here.
Yeah, I mean, and like we were talking about, you can collect some very large data sets. Yeah. So it depends. It depends on the age of your.
It depends. Come on.
It's the classic answer. Yeah.
She wants to know: can her computer run the software?
Yeah. So
okay, what do you mean? What kind of computer do you need? If you got a Poseidon, you just bought it in the last year.
That's going to be a much newer computer. It's going to have larger RAM. It's going to have a better processor than an older computer.
How much RAM do you need?
So what Dragonfly recommends, their recommendation is, and this is the general recommendation for XRM in general, 4 times the amount of RAM as your largest data set. So if your largest data set is 100 gigs, then your RAM should be around 400 gigs. I know, yeah.
That's a lot of RAM.
I know, but like I said, there's only there's very specific customers that are collecting data sets that large. There's not that many customers that are collecting data sets that large.
So you may need to bin that data down if
you may need to bin the data down if you
don't have that.
Yeah, or it'll lag, or you load a subset. But there's a lot of customers that mostly work in like the 30 gig data set range. Okay. So they're good at 120. And this computer has 128.
All right, now what about processor? What are we talking there?
Processor, processing speed is way more important than cores.
Okay.
Than the number of cores. So if you are looking to upgrade or buy a computer, I would look for the fastest processor. Now, cores is still important.
So if you can, so it sounds like if the choice is between one system that has, say, 10 cores versus another system that has 20 cores, if the 10 core had a 6 gigahertz processor, and the 20 has a 3 gigahertz processor, you want the 10 cores with the 6.
Right.
Better to go with the faster
processor.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the other thing is going to be the your graphics card.
Yeah.
So obviously it's visualization, right? So you want a strong graphics card for the segmentation, stuff like that. That's going to use the VRAM in your graphics card. So when you're looking at your graphics card, the more VRAM, the better.
Yeah. And that's a big differentiator between. There's 2 classes of graphics cards out there. There's the gaming ones, and then there's the commercial ones, commercial workstation.
Yeah.
Commercial workstation ones, the VRAM is much higher, and that's really important actually for this stuff.
Yep.
So Carol, maybe your computer will work. It depends on how old.
Yeah.
All right. So Clark, I work in food science. Which software would be better for me? It's kind of a loaded question here. I mean, both will work, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
What do you think?
I would say it depends on some level. It really depends on your preference. So some people are just going to prefer the CTN workflow over the Dragonfly workflow. Some people are going to prefer Dragonfly over CTN. So I would say it depends on your preference, but it also kind of depends on the workflow that you're going with. Yeah. So depending on what you need to analyze, you might find that one is easier for you than the other.
Yeah. I mean, I know there's some features, like for example, in CTN, I really like that function where you can go in when you're building the mask, you go on a layer, and then you set the shape of the mask. Then you can go up a few more layers, set the shape again, set the shape, and it'll actually interpolate the mask. And then here, I think you can draw it into 3D and you can adapt it, but it's a different
feel,
and it may work better or worse for one or the other.
And then ROI shrink wrap in CTN works really well for funky shapes, I would say.
Yeah, shrink wrap is really awesome in CTN. I love that function.
Yeah.
That's where you create a mask on the outside, and then you go.
Yeah.
sucks to the outside.
Just
right?
like heat shrink. And yeah, I mean, there are ways to do it in this software. It's just different.
Yes.
So if you find that the workflow in CTN works better for you, stick with it.
Yeah.
There's no
And
reason
the
to
other
change.
thing I think to mention would be in terms of licensing. So, this, for example, this is licensed by the computer.
Right.
Whereas with CTN, if you have a Bruker solution, you have CTN, you actually have a lot of licenses.
Yeah.
You get a lot of licenses with that, so a lot of users can use it all at once. All right, next question from Holly. Which software is better for reconstructing?
So Dragonfly, they have a beta reconstruction. I haven't personally messed with it. I don't.
So to remind everybody, what's reconstruction?
So reconstruction, once you have all of your projection images,
So you take the raw data.
and then it needs to be brought into a reconstruction software. It needs to be reconstructed. All those projections now need to be reconstructed and corrected. So for any scanning artifacts. And then, yeah, so.
All right, instead of saying which one is better, which one do you use?
I use RN Recon.
Okay.
Yeah. So RN Recon, and like we mentioned before, especially if you have, like if you're doing offset scans or oversized scans, our software corrects for stitching. It's just our software corrects it's very specific to our.
It's more intimately connected to your system.
So yeah, I use in Recon.
And then the output of that reconstruction is this digital twin. And that's a file format that's a little more versatile because it's just a voxel cloud.
Right. So yeah, and you can, like we were saying, you can output an 8-bit or 16-bit. And so if you do want to bring in a Dragonfly 16-bit, you have that. You have that.
Just be thoughtful about file size.
Exactly. Yeah.
16-bit versus 8. Last question that came in, Nick. What is your impression of the AI tools?
I mean, personally, I like it. We just looked at the segmentation, the model for the concrete sample. It still takes effort to train those models. To get a very robust model, it takes a lot of time and that's like we were saying, there's a lot that you can do with these AI. And so there's filtering with AI, there's the AI segmentation. And so it takes a lot to, you have to work with it and train it.
I have thoughts.
Yeah?
So I think that we are at a very interesting stage right now. And we have to be very careful when we talk about tools like AI, that we are sticking them in the interpretation side of things. We all have to identify that what is ground truth. We had said that statement when we were talking about training the AI. What is ground truth? Ground truth is the real data. Like, the ground truth is I collected a high-quality data set on a very reputable system.
Yeah.
And that now I can look at that actually collected data. Now, reconstruction, I would throw that into the ground truth because it's geometric. It's like, I know the way NRecon handles it is that is the real data. That is geometrically derived, mathematical, bam, that is truth. So to me, that is still under that. If you would start bringing AI into that, I would really have an issue with it.
Yeah, I mean, but that's where the human element comes into play.
Yeah.
So you teach it, you say very definitively, this is 1, this is 2.
Right.
So you have to give it that.
Yeah, because sometimes it's like an AI might come in and it might look at the noise and it's, oh, that's just noise or that's just background. But the reality is that there's something there. Either we can't perceive it or it can't perceive it.
Yeah.
And then you lose it, right? Now, when we hit that next stage, though, which is analysis, and that's why it's kind of perfect for today's conversation, where we're saying we had up to reconstruction, data creation, then we have analysis, and we have options. Now, I'm okay with that because you're analyzing, you're interpreting, you're deciding what is right, and that's why I think AI is a cool tool.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like we were saying. We've seen a lot of useful cases for it.
Yeah.
Like this, for example. And it also has like the filtering with AI. There's a few different things on here that it is very nice to have. Yeah. So I mean, but it's not a slam dunk.
Yeah.
It's not a slam dunk. Like, it takes some effort to train it. It takes some. You still have to tell it what is ground truth.
You are still responsible for the result. And you really need to do your due diligence in checking the original data, looking at what AI has interpreted for you, and make sure you're not missing something. Make sure it makes sense. Make sure things are right.
Garbage in, garbage out applies to the models as well. Yeah. So if it's poorly trained model, it's going to give you poor results, and so.
Right. I would say don't be afraid of using it. It's actually really neat.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's fun.
This is the future. I think we can say that.
It's a perfect topic for, say, another Live from the Lab.
Yes. I do think
there's definitely a lot to talk about with that.
So very, very intriguing tool. Like I said, I would just throw out that cautionary note to everybody that just be thoughtful about how you use it, and that keep in mind, you in the end are responsible for that end result.
Right.
So that's all the questions that came in, and I don't see any other questions. So with that, thanks to everybody out there for watching. Thank you, Billy.
Absolutely.
For joining us.
Glad to be back.
And this is always very intriguing to me. I think that XRM is one of those techniques that it's really going to make it into every lab. It's going to be as ubiquitous as the classic microscope.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And tools like this are just making it more and more accessible.
Exactly. Yep.
So until next time, make sure to keep your signal high and your background